Yuri, as far as you noticed, the situation for the Trump team was bad when J.D. Vance came, while as far as I understand, Harris and Walz came on a more positive wave, speaking to voters in Wisconsin. For our viewers, Wisconsin is one of the 7 so-called swing states. How unshakable does Kamala Harris and Tim Walz's team look at this, and how problematic was J.D. Vance's rhetoric or general uncertainty, or perhaps I share it too radically?
You know, we have to admit honestly that in Wisconsin, in general, it is half and half. This means that you will be in areas where there will be a lot of signs with Biden's name and now Harris, and you will drive through villages where there will be giant posters that say Trump, although I don't see posters that say Trump-Vance, only Trump. Trump-Vance is found only at the rally, on the inscriptions on the podium, and in other places everywhere there are only the inscriptions, Trump. It feels like he's already eaten that J.D. Vance. And people are just going to a Trump rally because it's a show. It's unpredictable what he's going to say, and it's kind of a circus. In general, let's go take a look. However, after the assassination attempt, it seems to me, the mood changed, and perhaps the fact that he performs in Montana and indoors suggests that this ball is kind of deflating. At this time, people are coming to Wisconsin for the Kamala Harris rally. And how many were there? 10,000 in Wisconsin, more than 10,000, and yesterday in Arizona there were 15,000 people at the stadium. People gather in advance, sing songs, rejoice, chant USA, which really infuriates the Trumpists, because they believe that America was theirs. That they are the main patriots here, and therefore only they can chant to the United States. Everyone else, then, hates America. But the joke is that it is America that is hated by the Trumpists. They are very dissatisfied with the America in which they now live. It is very similar to the Russian reality, where, on the one hand, they hate America, and on the other hand, they dream of moving there. Or old immigrants who say this is not the America I came to. What does this mean? The fact that they do not like the country in which they now live. And the Democrats, on the contrary, are driving a wave of hope here. And it's very interesting to watch. I would like to note Biden's role in this, since Grandpa Biden is now the head of state. He's like a captain from Star Trek who may know his ship could be wrecked, but takes on the role of president. He is out of the race, but continues to play an important role. And what is its important role? He says that Trump will try to seize the election after he loses it. This is a very important aspect, because Biden is talking about it, even though he was wrong about this cascade. If he had been a candidate, everyone would have had a heart attack. But because he's only president now, when he says, there's going to be a problem with a change of power if Trump wins, we say, oh, I'm sorry, I mixed it up. We say, oh, Grandpa Biden, okay, they mixed it up, it's fine, that's also possible. Yes, Trump is trying, therefore, to steal the elections. The news just broke that in Georgia, election certifiers were given more opportunities to ask questions and challenge the results. All this is now a reality that the current president warns us about. And at this time, Kamala Harris, when they begin to chant, lock him up. Lock him up. Arrest him. Arrest him, was chanted at Hillary Clinton, and Kamala Harris said, no, no, no. Our task is to defeat him in the elections. That is, she is talking about elections, and there is no need to think further. Let's choose it just now. Meanwhile, Tim Walz, her vice president, is just telling everyone how wonderful Kamala Harris is and how beautiful she is. He is a real ordinary American, and he is completely for Kamala Harris. Everyone has their own task, and everyone fulfills it, and the people simply will not be happy.
Uriel, how do you assess the situation? How much is Trump's balloon really deflating, or perhaps it is still partially filled with helium and continues to hover a little bit at the top?
Well, I think it deflates like that. No, I think it's obvious. Trump is now afraid, and he's reacting to that, very negatively. He does nothing but talk about his huge crowds. Several times he has spoken and mentioned how large crowds he has. And he even claims that his crowd was larger than Martin Luther King's. It's hard to believe. Again, with Biden, it is obvious that he is aging, getting weaker, making mistakes, speaking worse, and so on. And Trump, because of his aggressiveness, loudness and lack of shame, looks less obvious in this regard. But now, I think, we are starting to see it. He has shame, but he does not feel shame. Shame, well, that's what I wanted to say, thank you for correcting it. I tried to translate the word shame from English, but I didn't translate it quite correctly. No, he has no shame. It's a shame that he's full of shame. Yes, that's obvious. But he is never ashamed. He does not care about all this. He just comes out and says whatever he wants. And now we see that he, talking about his crowds, began to talk some nonsense about how his crowd was bigger than Martin Luther King Jr., and so on. This is all very indicative. But, on the other hand, I want to say that there are also risks from the point of view of Kamala Harris. 42 or 44% of the population believes that she is too left-wing. And this can still affect the results, because everything has begun, and we feel that 6 months have passed. But it was only 3 weeks. It wasn't that much time. In all this time, we have not yet discussed real politics. We have not yet discussed the difference with taxes, with this or with the other. And so I would very much hope that we would talk about real politics. But now, unfortunately, our elections are not about real politics, but simply about democracy and feelings. And the fact that now there is a feeling of joy among the Democrats from supporting Kamala, that they are strongly inspired by the idea of the first female president of the United States and the fact that Grandpa Biden is finally gone. This is true. This is influential. This is important. But the question now is what will happen in the next few months. Will Kamala be able to convince the American people that she is not the same politician she was 4 years ago? Because 4 years ago, we have to remember this, she lost, and most people thought she was too left-wing and her positions were comparatively radical. And now it is just approaching the center. I very much hope that she and Tim Walz will be able to continue this progress, that they will demonstrate that, unlike Trump, they value the support of the majority of Americans, not just their supporters. I hope that they will be ready to help everyone and act as leaders from the center, ruling from the center. And here we will see, although it may be too early to judge, but I agree with Yuri that the last 3 weeks have been very positive in terms of policy in the United States. I think people are finally waking up and starting to understand who Donald Trump is, and that those who are against him don't necessarily all agree with each other. This is also, I will say, my last point. Those who support Kamala Harris are not all Democrats. I don't consider myself a Democrat. I am an independent from the United States, not a Republican or a Democrat. My position is solely related to the idea of supporting American democracy. And despite the fact that I do not agree with Kamala on many issues, I understand that if she wins, then in 4 years there will still be fair elections. And if Trump wins, well.
And Trump said that this, speaking to believers, that this could be the last election. You are diverging. Yes, if I win, then I will no longer have to vote. In principle, I think that he was not disingenuous there then. Yuri, we literally have 2 minutes. Do we agree that Harris and Walz will be able to move a little bit towards the center from the left flank and still maintain momentum and progress? And will this emotional component be able to break through the discussion of real political issues in less than 3 months, given that Trump does not plan to do this at all, continuing to focus on the emotional aspect, on personal grievances and appeals to Kamala Harris?
You see, Iryna, I am not sure that you offer a winning option. I understand that Uriel would like to know more about politics, about the program. Many people would like to know about the program. But the task here is not a program. The task here is to win. And now Kamala Harris is winning, doing what she does. Reading speeches, smiling and showing everyone how beautiful she is. That's enough.
So I just wanted to ask, will there be this transition from emotions and mood to politics at all, and is it necessary?
You know, Trump may not have been able to break this wave yet. But I must say that Kamala Harris, first of all, she is not so liberal. 4 years ago, she got in trouble because she was a prosecutor, and at the time it was very unpopular with Democrats. And now George Floyd's brother supported Tim Walz. That is, everyone supports the Democrats without exception, except for Hulk Hogan. Therefore, I think that now Kamala Harris has a problem. She does not mind changing her position, although she used to be against fracking. Now she said that she supports it. But a prosecutor is exactly what people need right now, because her current style of communication and speaking is suitable for confronting Trump. Yes, she doesn't have enough to talk about the future of politics, but look at the people she's already brought on board and the Democratic establishment. Politics are people, and, as far as I understand, they will be the same people. Perhaps Jake Sullivan will leave, Antony Blinken will leave, but they will be replaced by other competent specialists who will continue the democratic and civilized policy of the United States.
We will watch and observe with emotions, but also with arguments and facts, as always. Today, dear friends, I want to thank you for the most interesting analysis, your position and support for Ukraine. See you again, goodbye and see you in a week.
Goodbye.
Uriel Epstein, Yuri Rashkin, Iryna Uzlova. Friends, thank you for coming. Write your comments during the live broadcast and afterwards. We are very pleased. Subscribe to YouTube 24 and write what you think. It is interesting to communicate. Take care. Believe in the armed forces of Ukraine. See you and win.